And you have plenty of time to use the stadium. Things are going to be happening. Even this year, European issues are going to escalate. Even this year, tensions in Israel and Iran are going to escalate. The day is going to come when Israel will hit Iran. They already have hit. There were mystery explosions that happened. And the Lord told me about this. He said, Israel will one day send in rockets into Iran. He said, but before that day happens, there will be other explosions that will be called mystery explosions. And those have happened. But one day it is going to happen. And when that takes place and those missiles hit Iran, there's going to be a huge growth of anti-Semitism. And everybody's going to blame Israel on the price of gasoline. You're going to see incredible backlash that happens. And you're going to see OPEC countries forming an alliance that says we'll not sell to anybody who supports Israel. So America, if you want gasoline, you better stop your support of Israel. Israel will become a difficult thing, and Jerusalem will become a couple trembling. It is going to happen. And it's going to happen not years from now, sooner than that. And everything is going to begin to change. You see, we're kind of in a time, we kind of recognize troubles at hand, but at the same time, we still have plenty. Joseph, what was it like in Egypt when Joseph said, hey, let's start storing up food for 7 years? And everybody goes, why store wheat, man? We got plenty of wheat. We don't need to store wheat. We got plenty of wheat. Same principle is true with Noah. What are you talking about rain? There's no rain, it dews. It dews. The ground gets wet. What do you mean rain from the sky? Why build something that you don't need? Well, that's because you don't need it till you need it. Why store wheat when you don't need to? Because you don't need it till you need it. We're at a place like that today. We're going to see the dollar collapse. We're going to see a new American currency. We're going to see a new global currency. We're going to see a new one world currency. We're going to see a new one world order. We're going to see a whole different economic structure set up between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. We're going to see a whole new structure set up with the European Economic Community. We're going to see a whole new thing that's going to be going. The United Nations is going to get stronger. The EU is going to get stronger. We're going to see Turkey rise seemingly out of the ashes and become an incredible force in the Middle East with darkness in the core of it. Right now, Turkey seems to be rather demure, but Turkey will not remain demure for long. They've already started raising their head. The Lord told me about that. And you're going to start seeing Russia take on a whole new nationalism, and Russia's going to create a crisis in order to spawn nationalism because it realizes it's losing its youth. And so Putin coming back in is part of the whole thing that the Lord talked to me about, where Putin and Medvedev would begin to clash. Putin would end up taking over, but there's a third guy behind the scene that is even more ruthless than that. And he will end up showing up on the scene. He's not on the scene yet, but he will be on the scene. And Putin is setting the stage for his coming. He is not the Antichrist, because the Antichrist comes from somewhere else. But it is part of the whole end time scenario, and it is part of what Russia's doing, and Russia's going to end up blackmailing many of the small satellite nations that used to be part of the Soviet bloc and demanding that they come into a whole new alliance and a whole new agreement, and Poland will be blackmailed. I hope they do not succumb. I've got to give a message to them in the spring when I go there. Czechoslovakia, the Slavic countries, Hungary, Romania, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, all these are going to be blackmailed by Russia. Says if you want our oil and you want our gas, you will come back in, because if you don't, we will close the pipeline tomorrow. And they're waiting for the price of gas to get up high enough so they can close the pipeline to those countries and still be able to function economically in their own state. but they have to wait till the price of gasoline gets up high before they can cut the pipeline off. This is what the Lord showed me. I mean, I was going into these details with me, and I'm going, Lord, I don't think I can retain all of this. He says, yes, you can. Here, he told me about, he said, the earthquakes are going to be coming. Earthquakes are going to change the tilt of the earth. And so we had the Chile earthquake, and the earth tilted, the tilt changed. We have the New Zealand earthquakes, and the earth tilt changed. We have the Japan earthquake, and the tilt of the earth changed. And he says, when you start to see this happening, when the tilt of the earth changes, jet streams are going to change, weather patterns are going to change dramatically, and countries are going to experience climatological changes that they've never experienced before, and it will cause the loss of crops. Whether it be fruit crop or wheat crop, grain crops, vegetable crops, you're going to see the loss of crops because jet streams are going to change because the tilt of the earth changed. Just 1 degree change, a half a degree change, can mean hundreds of miles in the change of a jet stream. And he says that when this begins to happen, cracks are going to begin to form in the shields of the earth. And when that happens, the sun is going to begin to rise up again. It's going to awaken, and he didn't say CME, as I just discovered what coronal mass ejection, what that type of stuff is. But he just said eruptions from the sun are going to come, and the energy from the sun is going to seep through the cracks, and the day will come when it will wipe out many of your satellites. When that happens, no cell phones, no ATMs, no bank transfers, no TV. When that happens, and the day will come. In fact, there will be airplanes in the sky that can't land, and they have to figure out how they're going to land because they have no satellite guidance system. It's all going to be visual. This type of thing we are going to face this type of thing if we do not cry out to God. The moment we cry out to God, He will stop the process if it's a sustained cry. But the problem is if we don't cry out, this is what is coming our way. It is headed our way. There's so much that is about to take place in this nation. There's so many things. There's other assassination attempts that are going to be coming. I'm not a part of any of that. I just know what God has shown me. There's anger that is going to be erupting. Violence is going to be in the streets. Rich houses are going to be, neighborhoods are going to be invaded. The Robin Hood mentality of what's yours is mine is going to spread. And all you're going to be seeing in multi-million-dollar neighborhoods is chimneys left standing and burnt chars of the houses. Violence is going to become so prevalent, the police forces will not be able to take care of it, and even the military forces will only be able to take care of it in the urban areas and not the rural areas. And even all urban areas won't be able to be taken care of. It will be so widespread. Our military will be coming home, the Lord said. Finance is going to force you to shrink the size of the military. It will end up causing cracks to form in the military and end up allowing your country to be invaded if you do not turn your heart to me. And so as I'm starting to read, I'm starting to read about the shrinking of the military. I'm starting to read about the numbers of, they're no longer going to have, they're cutting X number of tens of thousands of military positions. I'm starting reading about what they're doing. I'm going, oh my goodness, it's happening, it's happening. Has there been military excess? Probably. I don't doubt that. But I also know this is what the Lord said, this is what's going to be happening. Your army is going to start shrinking. Your protection is going to start shrinking because you're going to think, the pride of your heart is going to say, we don't need it. It's happening. We're going to see, there are going to be tornadoes that end up coming because of the changes in the jet streams and the climatological changes. They're going to have to invent a higher category of tornado. I think the highest it goes to right now is F5. I think it's going to have to go to an F6. Whatever the next category is that they don't have, that's what they're going to have. Because they have never measured wind speeds of tornadoes this high before. That's coming. Hurricanes that are over 500 miles wide are going to hit this nation. Volcanoes are going to erupt again in the northwestern part of the United States. Cities will be dramatically impacted. There will be things that happen that are just unheard of. The shape of the United States will change if we do not cry out to God. See, here's why. You say, why does all this happen? It boils down to the Garden of Eden, and that is this. Whenever man fell away from God, he began to decay. Everything he touched began to decay. And the Lord said it kind of like this, and the earth will no longer yield itself to you. To Cain, when he killed Abel, the earth will no longer yield itself to you. To the Israelites and Ezekiel, mountains, stop yielding your produce, your fruit to these people. Ezekiel 36-38, now mountains, hillsides, valleys, start yielding your produce to the people, for their iniquity has been removed, and I will bring them back out of their captivity. Sin has always caused a disruption of that which God made to provide for us. But we don't understand the causality of sin, what it causes. We don't understand that things don't function like they're supposed to when we sin. We think that God is mocked, that there is no repercussion to sin. There is no consequence to sin. But there is. As David said, because a judgment is not carried out quickly, people think they got away with it. But it's the mercy of God that doesn't carry out the judgment quickly.